accept. And I want to go through down even further into the 802.1x authentication. That was just the radius communication. Now on the back end of the radius communication, there is the 802.1x for username and password authentication. Okay, so IEEE 802.1x is an IEEE standard for port-based network access control, PNAC. Port-based network access control. Network access control, NAC, port-based PNAC. Okay. It is part of the IEEE 802.1 group of networking protocols. It provides an authentication mechanism to devices which are attached to a LAN or WLAN. The IEEE 802.1x defines the encapsulation of the Extensible Authentication Protocol, EAP. Extensible Authentication Protocol, EAP, over IEEE 802.1.802, which is known as EAP over LAN or EAPL. EAPL, originally designed for 802.2, 802.3 Ethernet in (802.1x-2001), but was clarified to suit other IEEE 802 LAN technologies such as IEEE 802.11 wireless and fiber distribution data interface ISO 93412. In 802.1x 2004, the EAPL protocol was also modified for the use with IEEE 802.1 AE, MACsec, 802.1.1 AE, MACsec, and 802.1 AR, Secure Device Identity, DevID. In 802.1x 2010, to support service identification and optional point-to-point encryption over the local LAN segment. Okay. Overview. Whoa. Wow. Let me read that again. I didn't understand that. Okay. Let me try that again. The IEEE 802.1x is an IEEE standard for port-based network access control. So port-based network access control, PNAC. Okay. It is the part of the IEEE 802.1 group of networking protocols. There's a whole group, and .1 and X is part of that group. It provides an authentication method to devices wishing to attach to a LAN or WLAN. Okay, I got that part. What is the group? So B, C, D. I'm not going to look at that. Okay. IEEE 802.1x defines the encapsulation of the Extensive Authentication Protocol, EAP, over IEEE 802. Okay, so 1x defines the encapsulation of the Extensive Authentication Protocol, which is this. So it defines this. So it defines the encapsulation of Extensive Authentication Protocol over IEEE 802, which is known as EAP over LAN or EAPL. And EAPL originally designed for IEEE 802.3 Ethernet in 802.1x 2001, but was clarified to suit other IEEE 802 LAN technologies, such as IEEE 802.11 wireless and fiber distributed data interface. I don't know what that is. In the 802.1x 2004 standard. The EAPL protocol was also modified for use with IEEE AE, MACsec, and IEEE 802.1 AR Secure Device Identity Dev ID. In the 2000 in 802.1x 2010 standard, to support service identification and optional point-to-point encryption over the LAN segment. I didn't understand that. The EAPL protocol was also modified for use with IEEE 802.1 AE and IEEE 802.1 AR in the 802.1x 2010 standard to support service identification and optional point-to-point encryption over the LAN segment. So in the 2010 standard, it supports service identification and point-to-point encryption over the LAN segment. That makes sense. Okay. Oh boy. Overview. 802.1x authentication involves three parties: a supplicant, an authenticator, and the authentication server. The supplicant is a client device such as a laptop that wishes to attach to a LAN/WAN WLAN. In the term supplicant is also interchangeable to refer to the software running on the client that provides the credentials to the authenticator. So the supplicant is sending the request, and it could be software installed on that device. Okay. The authenticator What if I do this? It breaks. It breaks. Okay. I need a line. I don't got a line. The authenticator is a network device such as a Ethernet switch or a wireless access point in I lost my accent. The authenticator is a network device such as a Ethernet switch or a wireless access point, and the authentication server is typically running software supporting the Radius and EAP protocols. So the authenticator is a access point or a switch, and the server is running the Radius protocol and EAP protocols. Okay. In some cases, the authentication server software may be running on the authenticator hardware. So the authentication server, the Radius protocol and EAP protocols, may be running on the switch or the access point hardware. The authenticator acts like a security guard to protect to a protected network. The authenticator acts like a security guard to protect to a protected network. The supplicant, i.e. client device, is not allowed to access through the authenticator to the protected side of the network until the supplicant's identity has been validated and authorized. An analogy to this is providing a valid visa to the airport's arrival immigration before being allowed to enter the country. Okay, that's the analogy. With 802.1x port-based authentication, the supplicant provides credentials such as username and password or a digital certificate to the authenticator. And the authenticator forwards the credentials to the authentication server for verification. If the authentication server determines that the credentials are valid, the supplicant client device is allowed to access resources located on the protected side of the network. ePOL operates at the network layer on top of the data link layer and in Ethernet 2 framing protocol has an Ethernet type value of 0x888E. So network layer and data link layer. Okay. I gotta look at that later on. So I'm not looking at the layers yet. I will in a minute. All right. All right. Before we go any further with this, we now need to look at the Extensible Authentication Protocol. EAP is an authentication framework for providing the transport and usage of key materials and parameters generated by EAP methods. EAP is an authentication framework for providing the transport and usage of keying materials and parameters generated by the EAP methods. Nope, didn't understand that. EAP is an authentication framework. So EAP is the authentication framework for providing a transport, the highway, and usage of keying material and parameters generated by EAP methods. Okay, I understood that now. There are many methods defined by RFCs and a number of vendor-specific methods and new proposals exist. EAP is not a wire protocol. Instead, it only defines message formats. Each protocol that uses EAP defines a way to encapsulate EAP messages within that protocol's message. Did not understand that. Okay. What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? So, EAP is not a wire protocol. Yeah, that makes sense. Instead, it only defines message formats. EAP defines message formats. Okay. Each protocol that uses EAP defines a way to encapsulate EAP messages within that protocol. EAP is in wide use. For example, in 802.11, WPA and WPA standards have adopted IEEE 802.1x with 100 EAP types as official authentication mechanisms. There's 100 EAP types? Wow. Alright, well. Right now there's 14. Okay. Alright. Wow. One-time passwords. Need to know all of this. I need to know all of this. One word at a time. EAP is an authentication framework, not a specific authentication mechanism. It provides some common functions and negotiations of authentication methods called EAP methods. There are currently about 40 different methods defined. Methods defined in IETF RFCs include EAP MD5, EAP POTP, EAP CTC, EAP TLS, EAP IKE-v2, EAP SIM, EAP AKA, and EAP AKA apostrophe. So EAP is the framework, and the EAP methods is the authentication method. Additionally, a number of vendor-specific methods and new proposals exist. Commonly used in modern methods capable of operating in wireless networks include EAP TLS, EAP SIM, EAP aka LEAP, EAP TTLS, okay, what did I just read there? Additionally, a number of vendor-specific methods and new protocols exist. Okay. Commonly used in modern methods capable of operating in wireless networks include EAP TLS, EAP SIM, EAP aka LEAP, and EAP TTLS. Okay, so all those are can operate within the wireless network. Okay. I don't need to remember that yet. I'll hopefully remember later on. Requirements for EAP. Methods used in wireless LAN authentications. Requirements for EAP methods used in wireless LAN authentication are described in RFC 4017. Requirements for EAP. Requirements for EAP methods used in wireless LAN authentication are described in RFC 4017. Okay, the EAP methods are in the 4017 RFC. The list of type and packet codes used in EAP is available from the IANA EAP registry. Oh man, that's a rabbit hole I don't think I want to go down. No. I don't want to go down this hole. That's a registry. Okay. The standard also describes the conditions under which the IEEE the standard also describes the condition under which the AAA key management requirements described in RFC 4962 can be satisfied. Lightweight Extensible Authentication Protocol. The LEAP. The lightweight extend. How big is this? Okay, it's only a lot. I can get through this. Okay. The lightweight extensible authentication protocol method. Why is this linked? But we're talking about it. Alright. Oh. Was developed by Cisco Systems prior to the IEEE ratification of the I-802.1.11i security standards. Cisco distributed the protocol through the Cisco certified extensions as part of getting 802.1x. And dynamic web adoption in the industry in the absence of a standard. Alright. There is no native support for Leap in any Windows operating system, but it is widely supported by third-party client software, most commonly included with WLAN devices. Leap, good. I don't care about Leap then. Leap support for Microsoft Windows 7 and Windows Vista can be added by downloading a client add in. Okay. Leap. Leap support for Microsoft Windows 7 and Microsoft Vista can be added by downloading a client downloading client add in from Cisco that provides support for both Leap and EapFast. Due to the wide adoption of Leap in the networking industry, many other WLAN vendors claim to support Leap. Okay. Leap uses a modified version of MS-CHAP, an authentication protocol in which users' credentials are not strongly protected and easily compromised. An exploit tool called Asleep was released in early 2004, and Cisco recommends that customers who absolutely must use Leap do so only with sufficiently complex passwords. Though the complex passwords are difficult to administer and enforce. Cisco current recommendation is to use the newer, stronger EAP protocols such as EapFast, PEEP, or EapTLS. Okay. EapTLS. Oh. Why are you learning these? Okay. I am learning EAP protocols, 802.1x, and other networking protocols to become certified in, to get the certification of the Certified Wireless Security Professional, to advance my career. Right now, I'm a wireless designer and a high level of authentic certifications in other wireless network certificates. Now I'm just advancing my career further, and I'm starting from scratch, thinking that I don't know anything, just in case I miss anything. Because before, as I was learning, I faked it. Now I'm at a level where I need to know every little piece of information, and I need to be proficient to the point where I know the standards where I almost can program them. That's where I want to be, so that's why I'm studying this. And I'm also can't read, so it's it's difficult. Well, let me change that context. I can read. It's just difficult for me to read. But thank you for asking that question. Okay, where am I at? The EAP transport layer security. EAP transport layer security TLS, EAP TLS, defined in RFC 5216, is an open IETF is an IETF open standard that uses the transport layer security protocol and is well supported among wireless vendors. EAP TLS is the original standard wireless LAN EAP authentication protocol. EAP TLS is the original standard wireless LAN EAP authentication protocol. EAP TLS is the original standard wireless LAN EAP authentication protocol. Okay. How much more? I got 3 paragraphs. Okay. EAP TLS is still considered one of the most secure EAP standards available, although TLS provides strong security only as long as the user understands potential warnings about false credentials. EAP TLS is still considered one of the most secure EAP standards available, although TLS provides strong security only as long as the user understands potential warnings about false credentials. And it is universally supported by all manufacturers of wireless LAN hardware and software. EAP TLS was the only EAP type vendor where was it? Was the only EAP type vendor needed to certify for a WPA or WPA logo. Until April 2005, EAP TLS was the only EAP type vendors needed to certify for WPA or WPA2 logo. Until April 2005, EAP TLS was the only EAP type vendors needed to certify for a WPA or WPA2 logo. Okay, that makes sense. There are client and server implementations of EAP TLS in Microsoft and open source operating systems. Okay. EAP TLS is natively supported in Mac OS 10 and above WPA supplicant. 2 blah blah blah. Unlike most TLS implementations of HTTPS, such as on the World Wide Web, the majority of implementations of EAP TLS require client-side X509 certificates without giving the option to disable the requirement. Even though the standard does not mandate their use. What the hell's that? Oh, that's what smells. Hot. Unlike most TLS implementations of HTTPS, such as on the World Wide Web, the majority of implementations of EAP TLS require client-side X509 certificates without giving the option to disable the requirement, even though the standard does not mandate their use. So you need the certificate for TLS, but you don't need to use it. Okay, that makes sense. Some have identified this as having the potential to dramatically reduce adoption of EAP TLS and prevent open but encrypted access points. Some have identified this as having the potential to dramatically reduce adoption for EAP-TLS and prevent open but encrypted access points. Jesus fuck. On August 2012, Hostpad and WPA Supplicant added support in its Git repository for an unauth TLS vendor-specific EAP type using the Hostpad WPA Supplicant project. Private enterprise number, and on February 2014 added supplicant support for the WFA unauth TLS vendor specific EAP type. I don't know. I don't need to know that. Which only do server authentications. This would allow for situations much like HTTPS where a wireless hotspot allows free access and does not authenticate station clients, but station clients wish to use encryption and potentially authenticate the wireless hotspot. There are also being protocols to use the IEEE 802.11u. What is U? For access points to signal that they are allowed EAP-TLS using only server-side authentication. Oh, there we go. Using the standard EAP-TLS IETF type instead of the vendor-specific EAP type. What is... What? Oh, okay. That's what. Provides the discovery of suitable networks. Pre-association through the advertisement of access network types. I don't know what that means. I don't need to know. Okay. Where am I doing? No, I'm not. I lost my access. Okay. EAP-TLS. Okay. I think I'm actually done.